Ooh, here we go. Let's talk about a classic Southern breakfast delicacy, guys. This is sausage gravy on top of some homemade buttermilk biscuits. Alright, let's start off with a little bit of go-go juice, because without my go-go juice, I'm not doing nothing, guys. But we're going to move on and sift out 2.5 cups of just all-purpose flour. I don't have one of those fancy sifters, so I just use the strainer. 2 tablespoons of baking powder and a hefty pinch of salt. Let's get all those dry ingredients mixed together. Now, I did throw an unsalted stick of butter into the freezer. That way, as you can see, we can grate it up. So we're going to grate that entire stick of butter into our dry mix. And then once that's done, we're going to grab a fork. You're just going to kind of work it in there. I recommend using the fork. You want that to stay good and cold. Once you have it all nice and mixed in really good, which it will get a little clumpy, no big deal. We got our homemade buttermilk from making butter in my previous video. We're going to use 1.25 cups of that. And what you don't see is I will keep a little bit to the side for later to brush in. But you're going to give this a little rough mix. Have a good shaggy dough. Throw you some flour on the counter or whatever working surface you want to use. Just make sure it's clean. So guys, you don't want to overwork your dough. If you overwork it, it's not going to rise as good. But when you put it down, we're just going to use basically our fingertips to flatten this dough out. You want to make quite a few folds on it. I try to fold, somewhere between 8 and 12 times, somewhere in there. That way we can flatten it out and start cutting our biscuits. And I know some of y'all are like, where's the lard? Because it is a Southern thing to put a little bit of like Crisco or something like that in our biscuit mix. I didn't do it in this one. Sorry, guys. It'll still be delish, I promise. But as you can see, we got everything folded, flattened out. I don't have a biscuit cutter. I know, how am I in the South without a biscuit cutter? Well, we just kind of make do with what we got. It works, no issues. So once you cut out your biscuits, you're just going to rework your dough a little bit. That way you're not wasting all that dough. So in the meantime, while you're cutting your biscuits, make sure you're preheating your oven to 425 degrees. You can preheat your cast iron pan. I forgot to, but we're going to throw some butter in that pan before we put our biscuits in there. Get them all lined up. Try to make space for all, but there's going to be one that's just not going to fit. So unfortunately, we're going to waste one. So we got a little bit of buttermilk. We're going to put it right on the top. I put a little press in the middle of each one. And off to the oven they go. And in the meantime, we'll start on our sausage gravy. I recommend using either a mild or hot sausage. I didn't have that. All I had was original, so I made do with what I had. Once that's cooked through, we're going to add in about 3 tablespoons of some bacon grease, which, you can find in just about every Southern home. I happen to keep a mason jar of my leftover grease. Use it for cooking. It's fantastic. All right, let's make sure you get that flour cooked all the way down before we start adding in our milk. I use whole milk for mine. I'm going to use roughly 2.5 cups. I didn't really measure it. I just pour it out of the container. You want it to thicken up, which it won't take very long. And make sure you get a good hefty pinch of pepper in there, guys. That's a must. But in the meantime, as you can see, we've thickened up. Our biscuits are ready, so let's get them out of the oven. Look at that. Nice golden brown. They are fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and bust me open a couple of them and top it with the gravy. As you can see, it is fluffy. So fluffy. Now comes that good old Southern gravy. If y'all don't know, you are missing out. If you know, you know. That's some good stuff. I hope you guys try this recipe. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. Definitely, if you make it, let me know. And I hope to catch you next time. Enjoy, guys.